It was taught in a baraita. Rabbi Yossi, the son of Rabbi Yehuda, says, "An ark of fire, and a table of fire, and a menorah of fire descended from heaven, and Moshe saw them, and made the vessels like them. As it is said, and you shall see and make according to their pattern, which you were shown on the mountain." The Mishkan. Out of the midst of the exodus from Egypt, the command came forth, "Make me a sanctuary, and I shall dwell among you." The Mishkan was the heart of the Jewish people, located in the center of its encampment. There was the camp of Israel, within it the camp of Levi, and in the middle of both, the camp of the Shekhinah, the Mishkan. Here the tablets of the covenant resided. Who built the Mishkan? The Torah tells us, Betzalel, Aholiab, and every wise-hearted man in whom God had placed understanding. To understand how these Jews managed to build such a magnificent yet portable structure, let us go back to the beginning. The Mishkan was unbelievably beautiful. From the outside, what one first saw were the colors. Suddenly, in the midst of the desert, such a range of colors, a symbol of the flags of the nations of the world. And these nations served as a covering for the intimacy inside, where the father speaks to his children. Inside was a hall built entirely of krashim, or boards, overlaid with pure gold. Every board was more than 10 amot long, approximately triple the height of a man. The width was also impressive. If this is the width of an amah, and the boards were 1.5 amot across, these boards were unusually wide. The Mishkan was rectangular, with 3 walls made of gold-plated boards, and 1 wall made of a masach, a screen woven out of wool. And you shall make the boards for the Mishkan out of acacia wood, upright. And you shall overlay the boards with gold, 2 pegs per board, connected one to the other. So shall you make all the boards of the Mishkan. During the 40 years that the children of Israel traveled through the desert, the Mishkan was dismantled before each journey and reassembled in each encampment, with reinforcements designed to stabilize it, adanim, or sockets, tabaot, or rings, and brichim, or bars. And you shall make 40 silver sockets under the 20 boards, 2 sockets under 1 board, for its 2 pegs, and 2 sockets under 1 board for its 2 pegs. And they shall be coupled together underneath. And they shall be coupled together above the top of it unto 1 ring. And he made bars of acacia wood, 5 for the boards of one side of the Mishkan, and 5 bars for the boards of the other side of the Mishkan. And he made the middle bar to slide through the boards from end to end. The Mishkan had 4 types of coverings. Every wise-hearted person among those who did the work made the Mishkan. Curtains of fine twined linen and blue and purple and scarlet, with keruvim of artistic work he made them. And he made curtains of goat's hair for the tent over the Mishkan. And he made a covering for the tent, ram skins dyed red, and a covering of tachash skins above. Here was the Holy of Holies, the paroket or veil, hung from these pillars, and behind it was the Holy of Holies, the part of the Mishkan that only the Kohen Gadol could enter, and only 1 day a year, on Yom Kippur. And he made the veil, blue and purple and scarlet and fine twined linen. Of artistic work he made it, with keruvim. And he made 4 pillars of acacia for it, and he overlaid them with gold. And the veil will divide for you between the Holy and the Holy of Holies. The Holy of Holies had no windows and no lights, for true light comes from the spiritual side of life, the ark and the tablets within it. The 4th wall of the Mishkan was made entirely of an embroidered masach, or screen. And he made a screen for the door of the tent, blue and purple and scarlet and fine twined linen, an embroidered work. In the Holy of Holies was the Aron, or ark, and within it the Luchot HaBrit, the tablets of the covenant. Actually, the Aron was composed of 3 aronot, one within the other. And Bezalel made the ark of acacia wood, and he overlaid it with gold inside and out. This form of construction teaches us that one who has Torah must be a paragon of virtue, inside and out. Therefore the Aron is overlaid with the same material inside and out, gold. And he made a gold rim for it all around. And he made poles of acacia wood, and overlaid them with gold. And he brought the poles into the rings by the sides of the ark to carry the ark. The tablets were placed in the ark, which was then covered with a kaporet, from the word kapara, or atonement. And he made a kaporet of pure gold. And he made 2 kruvim of gold, beaten out of one piece he made them, on both ends of the kaporet. 1 keruv on the end of this side, and 1 keruv on the end of that side. And the kruvim spread wings on high, covering the kaporet with their wings. And their faces were toward each other. Toward the kaporet were the faces of the kruvim. Twice, says Rashi, the Torah emphasizes that before the covering is placed on the ark, the tablets must be placed inside. For people were liable to build magnificent arks of gold, but forget to fill them with the very thing for which they were created, spirituality. Therefore the Torah stresses that we mustn't forget to place the luchot in the Aron. And you shall place the kaporet on the ark from above. And in the ark you shall place the testimony that I shall give you. And I shall meet with you there, and I shall speak to you from above the kaporet, from between the 2 kruvim, which are upon the ark of the testimony, all that I shall command you concerning the children of Israel. Part of the Ohel Moed was known as the Kodesh, or Holy. Inside was the Shulchan, the table. And he made the table of acacia wood. And he overlaid it with pure gold. And he made for it a border of a handbreadth all around. And he made a gold rim for its border all around. And he made the poles of acacia wood, and overlaid them with gold, to carry the table. The Shulchan represented the material side of life. Therefore the Lechem Hapanim was placed upon it. This bread was distinctive looking, with sides here and there. It recalled the man which fell in the desert, but it symbolized the obligation to pray for food. In contrast, the menorah represented the spiritual side. And he made the menorah of pure gold. Of beaten work he made the menorah. And 6 branches extend from its side, 3 branches of the menorah from the one side of it, and 3 branches of the menorah from the other side of it. The menorah had 7 branches. In the Torah, however, the term menorah sometimes refers only to the middle branch, which stemmed from the base of the menorah. Thus, for example, in the verse, the 6 branches extending from the menorah, the Torah is referring to the 6 branches extending from the central one, for this middle branch is the essence of the menorah. 3 almond-like bowls per branch, a bulb and a flower. Throughout the 6 branches extending from the menorah. These 3 gvi'im, or bowls, corresponding to Torah, Nevi'im, and Ktuvim, virtually came out of each other. Above them was the kaftor, or bulb, which represented the halakha, and above them was the perach, or flower, which symbolized the secrets of Torah. Together, they attested that only one thing can illuminate the world, the Torah. The Mizbach HaKtoret, the incense altar, was located in the Kodesh, next to the menorah and the Shulchan. And he made the incense altar, and he overlaid it with pure gold. The Ktoret, or incense, was beloved because of its scent. Scent symbolizes spirituality, and there can be no atonement without spiritual correction. Thus, the rising cloud of incense signified that atonement depends on our spiritual refinement. The Mishkan had 3 zerim, or rims, symbolizing the 3 crowns: the crown of Torah, the crown of kehunah, or priesthood, and the crown of kingship. The rim around the ark corresponds to the crown of Torah. The rim of the table parallels the crown of kingship, and the rim of the altar represents the crown of kehunah. From here, let's go outside the Mishkan to the Chatzer, or courtyard. The main service in the Chatzer revolved around the brass altar, on which sacrifices were offered daily. They too signified atonement. The sin offering atoned for sinful activity, and the olah, the burnt offering, atoned for improper thoughts and for neglecting positive mitzvot. The top of the Mizbeach, where the korbanot were offered, was as tall as the entire Mishkan, 10 amot, almost triple the height of a man. And he made the altar of the burnt offering, and he overlaid it with brass. And for the altar he made a brass grate of network. And he made the poles of acacia wood, and he overlaid them with brass. The extensive use of brass symbolizes the obligation to atone for brazenness. The goal is to cast this trait into the fire. For reasons of modesty, the Kohanim did not ascend to the top of the Mizbeach by stairs. Rather, they went via the kevesh, or ramp. The Mishnah relates that 2 Kohanim were once racing up this steep slope. One pushed the other, who then fell and broke his leg. Another important vessel was in the Chatzer, the kior, or wash basin. And he made the wash basin of brass and its brass pedestal, and from it Moshe and Aharon and his sons washed their hands and feet. When they came to the tent of meeting and when they neared the altar, they washed, as God had commanded Moshe. The brass used to make the wash basin was the woman's unique contribution to the Mishkan. Until now, they had used this gleaming brass as mirrors. The use of these mirrors in the Mishkan highlights the special merit of the women who gave birth to the nation, to the armies of God that went forth from Egypt. The overall area of the Mishkan included a large Chatzer measuring 100 amot by 50 amot. In other words, about 55 yards by 27. And he made the courtyard. The hangings of the courtyard were of fine twined linen, 100 cubits. Their pillars were 20, and their brass sockets 20. The hooks of the pillars and their joints were of silver. And the screen for the courtyard gate was embroidered work of blue and purple and scarlet and fine twined linen. And he erected the courtyard around the Mishkan and the altar, and he placed the screen for the courtyard gate. The courtyard pillars were taller than the Mishkan. Thus, to the outside observer, the Mishkan wasn't visible at all. The Mishkan, which symbolized the creation of the physical and spiritual worlds, also represented the synthesis of the two. Thus, say our sages, the day the Mishkan was erected was as joyous as the day heaven and earth were created. O God, I love the residence of your house and the place of your glorious Mishkan, which is equivalent to the creation of the world. Yet, as with the world, the work could not begin until there was man, symbolized in the Mishkan by the Kohen Gadol. The Kohen Gadol wore 8 garments known as Bigdei Zahav, garments of gold. The Michnasayim, or pants, the Kutonet, or undercoat, the Avnet, or sash, the Meil, or robe, the Ephod, the vest, the Choshen, or breastplate, the Mitznefet, the hat, and the Tzitz, or plate. As stated, these were the 8 garments of the Kohen Gadol, as opposed to the 4 worn by the Kohen Hedyot. The Migbat, or turban, the Kutonet, or undercoat, the Avnet, or sash, and the Michnasayim, or pants. These garments were called Bigdei Levan, garments of white. And he made the vest of gold, blue, and purple, and scarlet, and fine twined linen. The ephod hinted at the obligation to put the clothes of idolatry behind them. It was a kind of apron in back. They made joined shoulder pieces for it. By its 2 edges it was joined. The ephod was connected in front by a belt called the cheshev, the skillfully woven band. And the skillfully woven band of his vest, which was upon it, was of the same according to its work. And they made the onyx stones enclosed in fixtures of gold, graven with the engravings of a signet, with the names of the children of Israel. And he made the breastplate, the work of a skilled craftsman. And they set 4 rows of stones in it. And the stones were according to the names of the children of Israel, 12 according to their names, like the engravings of a signet, every one with its name, according to the 12 tribes. And he made the robe of the vest, a woven work, entirely of blue. And they made bells of pure gold, and they placed the bells between the pomegranates on the hems of the robe all around, between the pomegranates, bell and pomegranate, bell and pomegranate, on the hems of the robe all around. The Kutonet recalled Yosef's coat and the prohibition of bloodshed. The Michnasayim reflected the laws of modesty. And the sash, the Avnet, signified the desires of the heart. Perhaps to suggest the extent of the desires of the heart, the length of the Avnet was 32 amot, or some 52 feet. The Mitznefet was also a long strip. It was 16 amot long, some 26 feet. Using a special technique, the Kohen folded it into a compressed hat. This compression alluded to the obligation to do away with haughtiness. And they made the plate of the holy crown out of pure gold, and they wrote upon it a writing, like the engravings of a signet, holy to God. And Moshe finished the work, and a cloud covered the tent of meeting, and the glory of the Lord filled the Mishkan. And Moshe could not enter the tent of meeting, because the cloud rested on it, and the glory of the Lord filled the Mishkan. And when the cloud was lifted from over the Mishkan, the children of Israel went on all their journeys. And if the cloud was not lifted, they did not journey until the day it was lifted. For the cloud of the Lord was upon the Mishkan by day, and there was fire by night, in the sight of all the house of Israel, throughout all their journeys.